And now if on top of that, you're rationalizing it, you're walking deeper into the opposite direction. You're walking deeper away from the truth. You're walking away from taking responsibility for yourself, and you're willingly entering a world of irrationality. Experiencing the discomfort that is cognitive dissonance is a very telling thing. Cognitive dissonance is quite literally the discomfort that you feel when your beliefs and your actions don't line up. So something's incongruent. There's parts of you that are in conflict. And the pain you feel, that sense of stress in your mind, that's cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance, because of what it is very telling. Cognitive dissonance lets you know that there's something not right. Oftentimes, it's something with your conscience. You're behaving in a particular way, or you're acting in a particular way that doesn't line up with some part of you inside. And so you experience this discomfort. And that discomfort's not going to go away unless you resolve that incongruency. So unless you figure out what it is that you're doing and what it is that you believe that don't match. A really simple example of this might be when you feel bad after you lie to somebody. And maybe it's not even a big lie. Maybe it's a little white lie. It's something silly, right? You were late to work and you make up an excuse, but reality is you just wanted to sleep in. But there's some kind of pain you experience at first. And if you're not experiencing that pain, you might want to take a deeper look. The reality is that you might not be experiencing any cognitive dissonance because you've convinced yourself that it's okay to do whatever that thing is. Not because you actually believe it's okay, but you've convinced yourself it's okay. What do I mean by that? Well, if let's say the first time you had to lie to a boss, let's say the first time you had to make up an excuse for being late, right? Maybe you felt bad about it, maybe you felt uncomfortable about it. But after a while, right, a couple of years go by and now you've done that to a couple of different bosses, and suddenly you don't really feel bad at all when you make up an excuse, when you lie to them. Nothing hurts. There's no discomfort in your mind. And it's either because A, that action no longer is essentially immoral, right? It's not causing your conscience to have any issues. I realized as I was editing this that I wasn't really clear there, and I want to expand on that real quick. As I said to begin with, you experience cognitive dissonance because you know that something you're doing is wrong. It's not lining up with something inside of you. And I said you know this intrinsically. So the first possibility as to why you're no longer experiencing the cognitive dissonance, that discomfort, could be because that thing is no longer objectively wrong. Somehow this thing that was wrong, lying in the example, somehow became right. Somehow it was now okay. Objectively speaking, lying is all right. That is possibility A. And because I didn't say it explicitly, I'll say it explicitly. It's not possible. If something is wrong, it's not going to later on just magically become right and become okay to do. Now you've got the explanation. Back to the video. Or because you have desensitized yourself to it. And this is a really important thing to distinguish, because there are a lot of us who have desensitized ourselves to acting immoral, to doing things that we know we shouldn't do. And we've gotten away with them so many times, and there's nobody around to check you, right? So you've gotten away with it so many times that now it just doesn't cause any problems. It doesn't cause any discomfort. It does not cause cognitive dissonance. And maybe you don't see any greater consequences to it, so you're not really concerned with it. But nonetheless, it's worth noting that there is the cognitive dissonance. It's worth noting that there is a discomfort. There is something off, and you know it instinctively. That tells us there's something deeper there, whether that's you want to argue about an objective morality, or whether you want to argue about, again, some kind of conscience. That's totally up for debate. But it's important to note that it exists, and then you start questioning for yourself, why is that the case? Why do I feel that way? And if you start rationalizing the behaviors, you start telling yourself, well, it's okay that I lie to my boss because my boss is just there to, make sure I'm there on time, and he's annoying, and he doesn't let me take my breaks when I want, and work is stupid anyways because, the capitalist system is messed up, right? You can go down this whole chain of rationalizing why one little thing is okay. And the truth is that if you have to rationalize that one little thing, it's definitely not okay. Because if it was true, if it was real, you wouldn't experience cognitive dissonance. You wouldn't experience that discomfort in the first place. And now, if on top of that, you're rationalizing it, you're walking deeper into the opposite direction. You're walking deeper away from the truth. You're walking away from taking responsibility for yourself. And you're willingly entering a world of irrationality. So take note when you feel any discomfort between what you're doing and what you believe. Take note of it and ask yourself the questions to understand why you're feeling that discomfort. And don't let yourself be desensitized to that discomfort. It's communicating. It's your soul trying to communicate with you, right? It's something deep within you trying to get a message across that, hey, something's not right here. If you got any value out of today's video, I just ask that you like and subscribe. It just really helps me out. Thanks so much for watching.